Hey, I'm Keddy the Kedman Blumenthal.
And I'm Jeff E. Reed.
And you're watching Unity Gain. So we're glad you're hanging out with us. This is episode 7 about a song that we wrote called One Single Tear.
So this song has kind of an interesting story, and it's a fictional story, but I made a little video and to tell the story, and it's kind of artsy and flashy and stuff, but I'm sure you're going to enjoy it.
It's a fun video. It's kind of humorous in its ways. Its visual presentations are fun.
Yeah, I tried to make it funny.
It's kind of captivating. You guys will enjoy it.
It was the summer of 1994. Patricia and her boyfriend Dwight had hung out all day. It was very hot that day, so that evening they decided to drive out to Old Farmer's Pond to take a dip. It was quite a drive to get out to Old Farmer's Pond, so by the time they got there, the sun was just barely peeking over the mountain, and the moon had just begun to rise. They stood on the grassy bank of Old Farmer's Pond, stripped down to their underwear, and dove into the water. They thought they were alone, but just inside the woods stood old Johnny Bass. Now Johnny Bass was a little bit older than Patricia and Dwight. He was an art student at the university and he was studying photography. He just so happened to be out at the pond that night to try to capture a picture of a firefly. But fireflies became small potatoes once he saw Patricia. You see, Patricia was a very beautiful young woman. The moon was unusually bright that night, and old Johnny thought if he left the shutter open long enough, there was a flat spot on the grassy bank of the Old Farmer's Pond. And that's usually where people lay down to relax. And so he pointed his camera at the flat spot and waited for young Patricia to lay down. And to old Johnny's surprise, Patricia did lay down. Both her and Dwight, side by side, they laid there on the flat spot and went to sleep. The very next day, Johnny Bass met Patricia out in front of the malt shop. He explained to her how he had taken the picture and that it was still undeveloped, and then he described the evening in detail so that she would believe that he was there. And then he made this deal. He said, when I get this roll of film developed, I will take that photograph and throw it away, and all you have to do is agree to go out with me this Saturday night. Patricia was upset. She began to cry, hysterically. Just then, something took over Patricia. She started to try to rip the film from Johnny's hands. As she cried, Johnny fought back and pushed her, and she fell to the ground. He turned around, film in hand, and ran directly to the 1-hour photo booth to have it developed. Now, you might believe in miracles, or you might believe in chance. Johnny got his photos from the photo booth. He ripped open the package and started shuffling through them, of course, looking for the picture in question. He could see the pond and the trees, and he happened to leave the shutter open just long enough to collect enough light to make a pretty convincing picture. On the flat spot next to the pond, where Dwight and Patricia lay, there was a single drop of water. He could tell it was a drop of water because he had seen what water can do to film. Now, I don't know if it was actually one of Patricia's tears that ruined that picture, but legend has it that as she fought for that film, that one of her tears somehow made it inside that roll and ruined the picture that would have ruined her. And there's part of me that just likes to believe that that's true.
Yeah, I don't know where that story came from. It was just kind of popped into my head. I thought it'd be a cool thing to write a song about.
Yeah, it turned out to be a cool song. We came to the studio here last week to do our recording, and you told me about the song.
Yeah.
And you had me listen to it because it was on Drive. And so I listened to it, and I'm like, Okay. Okay. I wasn't sold yet, or immediately. But the more I listened to it, the more I thought, this is a really neat song. You know, I started hearing the parts I would record in it, and it turned out really, really good.
Yeah, I think that's when the song really took shape, is when we started, especially the second verse, you know, because it tells a huge chunk of the story.
Yeah.
And we kind of changed that around, and we were both bouncing ideas off each other, and I think that really transformed the song.
I love that one line, redemption finds its way in your fear.
Yeah.
I think that is such a cool line.
Yep.
And I'll be honest with you, I think that's probably the best line I've ever written. Redemption finds its way in your... Among your fears. Finds its way among your fear.
Among your fears, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've written some pretty good stuff, but yeah, that's a good one.
I like that one a lot.
I mean, it tells like I say, it tells a huge chunk of the story in just 5 or 6 words.
Yeah, it does. And it just, you remember when we were writing, we're on the phone, on speakerphone, and I'm reading the words on my device, and I'm going, oh, there's something here, what can we do? And then I thought of it, and I go, oh, and I told you. And you're like, yeah, and I go, that's it, it's perfect. It just hit, and it was done. Yeah.
And that was it. That was the last line
that was holding us up.
That we were trying to come up with. It's like, bam, it's done.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
All right, so we're going to go down in the studio and show you why this song is so cool to us in a segment we like to call
Why It's Cool.
All right, let's get into it.
All right. Let's break down the guitars. What do you got going on with guitars?
All right. Up here, I got my 12-string Dan Electro electric.
And I know this is a fairly new guitar, but you don't use it on everything. But when you do, it's just so, I love it. It's such a good sounding guitar.
Yeah, it's so awesome. You know what I did on this right here was, whenever I would play it, I listened back, and it didn't exactly sound like what I was hearing in the studio with my ears. And it's because I couldn't hear the acoustic sound of the guitar.
Okay. The actual sound hole of the body.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mic'd it.
Okay, let's hear that.
So there's...
That sounds like an acoustic guitar.
Yeah. And
What a great idea.
It sounds more like what I was hearing in the studio.
Now, are you saying that that's not plugged in? It's just raw strings catching the sound?
Yeah.
Wow, what a great idea.
I just set a mic right in front of myself and...
That's excellent.
Okay, so then I got this little dirty guitar.
Just real simple notes
Yeah, real faint.
that follow the melody.
And then I got a heavy guitar. This is my Ibanez.
Your art core. Yeah. It's amazing to me how many different types of sounds you can get out of the art core.
Yeah.
From bluesy to grungy to heavy metal. You really can get a whole word of the day plethora of sounds from that guitar.
And then I play these piano notes.
You what? That's my job.
Just follows the bass line down. And then the bass. And then I got this little B3 that's way back there.
Oh, you can really tell the difference between the two.
Oh yeah, the one you added.
Yeah. But you know, that's cool. It's all part of those layers that create something. When you layer stuff, even though you can't hear it out front, it creates such a pad and fills all the little holes in, and you have a full sounding song.
Yeah. So let's start bringing in these drums here.
Okay. Bass drum.
Nice.
Can you solo all the drums?
Yeah.
I take the drums out and just leave the congas and the shakers.
Adds so much to the song. That rhythm right there just makes it flow so much better.
I play that pattern a lot because it just works with everything. Yeah, very cool.
Makes you want to dance. Yeah.
Cool.
Little solo here, played on my Ibanez. Anyway, I'll start with some of these organs.
So these are those rhythm organs where they really fit in nicely in the background here. I'm just playing chords, following the chord structure, and then I leave the other parts to the rock B3 organ. Let's turn those on. Got some soloing in there, little riffs. And that fits the chorus line so well.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah, very cool. That looks great with those shakers and congas. Oh man, this sounds so good. Okay, this is cool. Everything's cascading down.
Yeah.
Bum, bum. And the verses are like that too. Okay? So right here when we get into the chorus, check this out. I love this. Here's our chord. Now we're gonna go up. And I think right there is such a moving part of the song.
Yeah.
Because it's the happy part of the song. It lifts.
Yeah.
It just creates a great moment. Oh, it's so good.
That's so cool how that just happened too.
We didn't plan it.
Yeah, I didn't really plan it that way, but it just seemed to happen.
Happy accident. Really. So good.
So the end of the song gets so huge.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
I love those choir sounds.
Sounds so good.
And these ending chords.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Fantastic.
So cool. And we had a little fun here. It's always fun to goof off in the studio, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's why it's cool.
You know, I like the way our songs are getting so big, and there's so many instruments, and especially this one, because those instruments, all of them, I mean, it was so easy to mix because everything just kind of just weaves together so beautifully, and basically all you have to do is set the level to your taste.
Right.
Because it sounds great at any level, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. They're getting thick.
Yeah.
Thick and full. And I think a lot of that, because this is the second song we did since I started using Logic Pro. And the organs in that are just top shelf. And they're so accurate. In this one we had two organs. We had a rhythm organ that played a kind of a background, just chords. And then I had the rock organ, the B3 on top of that doing some runs. And that was it.
And I love the sounds when you send them to me. You know, they're at the level that they're at.
Right.
And so the first time I play them, they're just, you know, loud, and I keep pulling them back and pulling them back and pulling them back, and they still cut through.
Yeah.
They're great sounds. They just cut through so nicely, and I feel like you could almost turn them off and you'd still be able to hear them. But yeah, they just fill up that back. The back of the song is just completely full.
Yeah.
And again, the drums and the percussion.
Oh, it just comes together so well.
Makes the whole song feel so good.
Yeah. And then I have to touch on your 12 string. You know, when you first played it for me, and I heard the electric guitars all in there, and the 12 string acoustic part wasn't on yet. You hadn't turned it on yet. And even though it wasn't plugged in and it's an electric guitar, and you're just miking the semi-hollow body guitar, when you combined it with the other ones I was listening to, I asked you, oh, you played your acoustic on this?
Right.
It sounded, now soloed by itself, it doesn't sound like that.
Yeah.
But it sounded like that when you played it. It sounded like there was an acoustic guitar in there.
Yeah. I had to do it because the sound I could hear in my ears in the studio is I could hear the acoustic sound of those strings and the acoustic sound of the guitar, along with the sound that was coming out the speakers. So I could hear that in my ears.
Yeah.
And then when I would play it back, that part would be gone.
Right.
And it doesn't sound right. So yeah, I had to do it. I'll probably do that from now on.
That's such a neat technique. It's really cool.
All right. So if you're watching this video right now, the song that this video is about is already done and available on all the streaming and download services. And so go check that out.
And it's important. Click that like button. You'll really help us out a lot if you do. And click on subscribe, ring the bell. You'll be notified of the upcoming videos. We got some cool stuff in the works. It's going to be pretty awesome, so stay tuned.
And make sure to leave a comment, because you leave a comment and your name is automatically put into a drawing for some cool Unity Game gear, and you'll want to do that.
And we've got some new stuff on order that's pretty neat, so stay tuned for that too.
All right.
All right.
So yeah, so thank you for watching, and I guess we'll see you next time.
And
don't forget to push record.
See ya.
Thanks for watching, and I guess we'll see you next time.
And
oh yeah, don't forget to push record.
we forgot it on the last one. So let's cut that in again.